If you want to land high authority backlinks and media coverage with your digital PR campaign, you need to find the right journalist to pitch. But here's the thing, media databases are expensive. I know ours costs upwards of £5,000 a year, and if you're a brand that can't afford to invest in that, finding the right journalists can be tough. But today I'll show you a few ways you can find journalists for your campaigns which are totally free, and some use tools which are not too expensive. And as always, if you want guaranteed press placements, check out our websites weare.co.uk, where we help brands get featured in some of the biggest publications in the UK. So let's jump into Google and I'll show you the first way of finding, first of all, journalists who write about the topics that you want to cover. So I've just used the term pest expert. What I find is if you use your industry name or something related to your industry plus the term expert, what it tends to bring up rather is expert commentary in your niche. So what that tells me is that the journalists who write these types of stories will be accepting of your pitch too. So what you can do as well, because journalists move around quite a lot, as you can see, this story is from 15 hours ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago. Sometimes you'll find them like from last year. So go to the tools, go to recent. It's already shown recent by default, but sometimes I find that if you put a brand name or something like that in, it'll show you results from years back, and choose something in like the last month or the past year. Generally, you will find journalists tend to move around every so often. So some of these journalists, for example, might have already moved, but this is a free way of doing so we can't be too picky here. So what you then need to go and do is go into each one of these articles and find the journalist. So let's just say I've clicked on this one here. So if you're a pest expert that wants to, stop mosquitoes from being in your garden or something like that, this would be the perfect journalist to reach out to. So Sarah Barltrop, I'm not sure how to say that name. This is the journalist you'd like to add to your list. If you have a media database, you could just put her in and you'd find their email address. But if you don't have one, first of all, what you want to do is just simply click on her name. So if we do that, you'll get to this page. And as you can see, is information about Sarah here, what she's done, what she tends to cover, which is a great way of making sure you're pitching the relevant journalist. And look, she's left her email address here. So what you want to do then is put that into like an Excel spreadsheet rather, and then you can go on to your next person. So it may be the case of going back here, going on the Daily Mail, and let's see if the email address is listed here. Once again, email address listed here. This is manual, it takes a little bit of time, but at least you then pitch in people who would write about your stories. Let's have a look on here. Page, if we click on Page, as you can see, Page doesn't currently have her email address listed, but she does have her X profile, so that could be a next place to go. So we go on X, go to Page, and once again, the email address is in here. So you don't need any expensive databases, you just need to do a little bit of manual work. And I had an example here of Sarah, who's previously got her email address, and once again, you can see her email address is listed here. But that's not always going to be the case. I'll try and find one. So let's go on Ideal Home. I believe these journalists don't list their email address, so this will be a good example. Kezia, if you go on Kezia, usually they don't have their email address listed. So great, Kezia doesn't have her email address listed. So what you could do is copy and paste Kezia's name and say x.com and do that search. Once again, you can see Kezia's email address here. Sometimes you won't find this and then you might be stuck and you think, okay, this could be the perfect journalist to pitch. What do I do next? Some cheaper tools I found work really well is hunter.io. I don't know how much they charge these days, but let's have a look. So if you're just doing this for your own business, you can sign up for a free account and you don't want to spend too much money, and you get 50 searches a month. Now, that's not a lot, but let's have a look at pay monthly. If you go on the starter package, for example, you could reach out to 1,000 journalists per month using this method. So when you sign up to Hunter, it doesn't have to be Hunter, there's other tools, but I've used Hunter. You put the person's name into the website, and you also put where or what website they write for, so the Sun, for example. And then they'll return a list of people who work there, or if they found that email address. Usually they're pretty good, and it's a great tool to use. Another one you can use, and I think this works really well for American journalists, is Apollo.io. And you can create an account of Apollo. I think it's like £100 a month, or $50 a month. And once again, you can search for journalists in your niche. And all you need to do is go through this manually, go through all the people who write about, the subject you want to write about, and then just put them into a spreadsheet. Their name, their email, and if you want the publication, maybe you could reference it in your email or something like that. So the journalist knows that you've read their previous work or something along those lines. You don't have to do that, but that's just a quick and easy way of building a media list without paying for expensive media databases. So I hope this was useful. If you want me to cover anything else about building a media database, or list rather, leave me know in the comments below, and maybe I can make another video about that. Thank you very much.